right, hey guys, welcome to another segment. I'm very excited to be talking to Wayne Nugent. Wayne, how are you?
My pleasure, thank you.
Awesome. You know, when you look at a company, right, one thing is to look at it at the outside and you know, listen to what the representatives are saying, and that is important too, and we have a lot of that, and social proof, and you know, what people are up to, what people are talking about. But it's another thing when you go directly to the source.
Yes.
Right, and just get a perspective of what's going on within the company, what's going on, like how did you guys start? Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit about the vision of the company. You know, you're the visionary officer.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Of the company, but hey, let's just have a casual conversation here, Wayne, for the next few minutes, and I'd like to talk to you about, give us a little bit about your backstory, like how did you start the company, maybe a little bit about your background here, you know, how did everything progress?
So for me, it's been about 20 years, 12 years with World Ventures, and going on about $3 billion in sales. And in between that, there's just a lot of good times. You know, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of learning. So it's been a heck of a ride, and we've never really attacked the internet, right, you know, in any way.
Well, this is like a new wave that's coming online with what you guys are doing offline. You know, and
ironically, you know, it was 20 years ago that I wanted to do travel on the internet. This was before there was Expedia.
Yeah.
That was started by Bill Gates. This was before there was Travelocity and before Orbitz, where the airlines came together. This is back when you still had a lot of storefront travel agencies, and I knew everything was going to go online in the future, and I wanted to be there first. And so I jumped in. And now, ironically, from a marketing standpoint, I was always the old school networker, and I recruited my friends and my family and did it that way. And I've been doing it that way for 20 years now. A lot of success. But it's ironic that, you know, me as being in the travel business, where the number one product on the internet is travel, not computers, not music, not a number of travel. And people don't know that. People don't realize that. So here it is. I got the number one product on the internet. You know, we've had a presence on the internet, but not really from a marketing standpoint.
Right.
So, you know, you've got your years of experience. You're bringing that to the table with your team of people that know that world, you know, better than we do. In a way, we're proud of ourselves that we've been able to do this. Just, you know, the old school way, you know, face to face, belly button to belly button, toenail to toenail, you know, old school selling.
So let's talk about this. I want to cover a couple things here, right? So how did you start World Ventures? Where you mentioned that travel has been in your blood for a while, right?
Yes.
How did the company start? You know, where are you guys at right now, and where are you going into the future? What's your vision?
Well, okay. So my story is. I grew up mostly around Texas. I was born in Pasadena, California, grew up mostly around Texas and Houston and Fort Worth. And, you know, I go off to the Marine Corps, and after I come back from the Marine Corps, I work for these companies, and I'm a hard worker, I'm a good employee, I'm one of the top salespeople all the time, but they wouldn't promote me because I didn't have a college degree. But I was in, you know, Desert Storm. And I was in the Marine Corps, and I'm number one for this company, but they won't promote me because I don't have a college degree. So I could already tell I'm going to be limited in the job world, in the corporate world, which is really frustrating for somebody like me because I wanted to go fast. I wanted to succeed, and I knew that I'm not the only one like that. There's a lot of people like me out there. So when I saw direct sales, that I can get in it and I can build a sales force as big as I want, you know, all over the world. You know, in the countries where the company is, you know, right. Then fantastic. I was able to go do that, and then I could override that sales force, and so I did that with different companies before World Ventures, right? Companies I didn't own, and I always worked my way up to number one, and I was always working, you know, with the owners and understanding what they're going through, and kind of. You know, being a good guy and being a good rep, and the owners, you know, trusting me to share with me what they're going through. I got that inside scoop, that inside knowledge. So when it came time for me to start my own company, I didn't want to. You know, I actually offered another company owner $100,000 a month if they would do it.
Because you were seeing all the challenges that they were going through, and
I didn't. I wasn't looking for a job.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the CEO or the CVO of a company. I wanted to be a rep. I wanted to go out there and just be able to build the sales force and override the sales force and have fun in the field, without all the overhead and headaches and risks and everything. But finally, I couldn't find somebody to really catch the vision, or somebody that I could trust to run it long term. And so that's what's happened here is, deep down inside me, I trust me to do it. Trust me to deliver on my vision. Trust me to really not have a money goal, have a creation goal.
Right.
And the people who know me best know that. For all these years, that's what I've said. I don't have a money goal. I got a creation goal, and I'm trying to create more fun, freedom, and fulfillment in people's lives. And so that's where that came from. And I was always, as a rep, I was always willing to help whomever and build that kind of a reputation that even though he doesn't earn money from me, he's willing to help me. And so that's where the idea of our number 2 core value came from, of, one big team. So our number 1 core value is live, fun, freedom, and fulfillment. Our number 2 core value is one big team. And then number 3 is trust, to embody and extend, trust. Right. And so we want to be a trusted company, which means we have to be trusted people, which means you got to have core values. But before our company had core values, there was the 10 Commandments, And so we're always trying to...
Because building on a foundation of stone.
Yeah, you build on rock. And, if you build people, and then people build the business.
Right.
And that's true in the field. It's also true inside the corporate office. But it's like we want to show up to work and like who we work with, which means you got to be likable. Well, if you're living up to the 10 Commandments, if you're living up to the core values, odds are you're going to be likable. If you struggle with living up to the 10 Commandments, if you struggle with living up to core values, odds are you're probably not going to be very likable. And you're going to have greed and ego and pride and envy and a bunch of stuff that's just bad. And so fortunately for 12 years now with World Ventures, for the most part, all in all, almost everybody, we've been able to attract the right people, hold on to the right people. So I say coming together is a start, working together is progress, but staying together is success. And so we certainly want to, bring on the right people with the right skills. I know that there's lots of other opportunities that you could go do, that your team could go do, and you've chosen this out of all the things that you've looked at. And so I'm just trying to be here to kind of, partner with you, talk to your people, let them know, we care about the company, we think big, we think long term. We see the opportunity that you bring, this online education. And I don't like this idea that there's the online world and the offline world. I think it's about time that there's a company that does both of them really well. Yeah. And we're the only company that's really doing training events all over the world. So and so we've done the high touch part, but we really could do better at the high tech, part.
So where's the where are you guys going? I mean, because it's more than just a travel company now.
Yes.
Right. You guys kind of started out as a travel company, but now you got the flight card, and you got, I'm hearing this word, dream body and all this.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you can, how much of that you can talk about yet or not, or, like where are you guys going? Where's the company going?
Before I get into the product and the expansion that we're doing there from our core product that I've been working on for 20 years, dream trips, which nobody's been able to come along and compete with us on dream trips. Because people don't realize how hard that is.
Right. So maybe let's do a quick pit stop and talk about that product. What's the distinction between like dream trips and maybe, somebody goes to Expedia and just books a trip?
Okay. Well,
from an owner's perspective.
Okay. Now before I do that,
right?
Because I felt like when you said, okay, you started out with this and now you're doing this, or this company's more than travel, right? I felt what came up for me when you said that was, yes, this is like a movement. So without talking about products yet,
Right.
this is like a movement. And yes, we want to create more fun, freedom, and fulfillment in people's lives. But we're building a company that touches every part of your life. So as a company, we care about the well-being of your whole being. You got 5 key aspects of who you are as a person, as a human. You got your spiritual,
Right.
your physical, your emotional, your intellectual, and your financial. And we want to build a company that touches every aspect of your being, so that when you just get started here, and it might have only been for travel in the beginning, which is your intellectual and your and then it might have been for the opportunity, the financial. But all of a sudden, when we make your relationships better because of our personal development, our trainings that we do around the world, and of all kinds of trips, whether it be like we do relationship trips, things like that. We do dream body trips already, even though we don't have the dream body products released, even though we formulated them. We're already doing dream body trips that are like yoga and hiking and things like that. But then the spiritual component, we have our own foundation, and so we do voluntourism trips. And all of a sudden, when you're on a mountaintop by yourself, or you go to someplace like Machu Picchu or something, it becomes a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
I mean, when God created the heavens and the earth, when you get out there in nature, it does. It just, people are inside too much. They're on their mobile devices too much. You get on a dream trip and you're somewhere in the mountains or on a lake or a river, and it's just beautiful. And you see God's creation up close.
And live life in a different way.
Oh yeah. So again, our company is just touching on all those areas, and people want to know, what's the demographic? Is it, man, woman, old, young, black, white? None of that. Everybody. We got everybody, I used to say 18 to 80, right? But it's like 8 months old to 80. I've done dream trips where my 8-month-old little girl at the time is over here dancing with an over 80-year-old woman. Yeah. And having a great time. They're both having a great time. And so, no, we're very family oriented. We have lots of singles that go on trips. We've had lots of people meet in the company and get married. We're not running like a singles company or anything, or doing, but that has happened a lot. And so I just see it like, yes, World Ventures is more than just travel, and World Ventures is more than just another multi-level marketing or network marketing company. Okay. And this is what I mean by, it is a movement to create more fun, freedom, and fulfillment. It is something that's designed to benefit the well-being of your whole being, spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and financially. So, but now, in order to really do all that, all businesses is a product or a service. Okay, so our core product, the membership, travel, is kind of like a service, right? We're providing a service. We go out there and negotiate the deals that you couldn't get on your own as one person or one family or even a church group or even a company, right? We do so much volume with the biggest companies out there that we get buying power that you just couldn't get, right? And we're private. So it's the volume of business we do, plus we're private. And then now, after all these years, it's the trust that we've built up with them and the volume, just the consistency of that volume. And so we have this huge competitive edge. When we first started, it was tough with all the deposits you have to do. It's very expensive, it's very risky, but we weathered that.
Yeah.
So now I wanted to create that dream trip experience. When you go on a dream trip, I mean, there's just the fun and the memories and the food and the everything. So I wanted to bring the best part of a dream trip closer to home. So when you're at home, you want to go out to eat with your favorite friends and your favorite family members, and you do break bread together, and you do drink together, and you do have that kind of experience at home. So we wanted to do like dream trips closer to where you live. Mm-hmm. So we, like staycation idea. But then that means I've got to go in and cut deals with the restaurants, all the best restaurants in the world, in the major cities, and also the most fun things to do. So every city there's like you haven't been to this city. If I go to South Dakota and visit you, oh man, you got to come eat here. You ain't really been to South Dakota if we hadn't gone here to eat and we don't go look at this or, whatever it is. So it doesn't matter where in the world it is, like Dallas, Texas. You come here, man, I got to take you to eat over here. We're going to go do this. And then that's going to be the Dallas, experience. And so now when you're at home, if you can go eat at your favorite places, do your favorite things, and then get 30, 40, 50% of the bill in travel, now you want to go do this stuff anyway with friends and family. But now when you go do this stuff, you're earning travel. Wow, that's a great idea. And so we had to build the app for that. We had to go cut the deals. This has been a lot of years in the making, a lot of money invested. So that's really cool. But now when you go on a dream trip, we want it to be where while you're on a dream trip, you're able to go eat and earn your next dream trip.
Eat your way to a vacation time.
Yeah. So you're already on one.
Yeah.
So now let's say you and I, we take a trip to Paris.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we go eat at this restaurant in Paris, and now we get points for eating at this restaurant in Paris that gives us the points we need to go on the next dream trip together.
Right, which is crazy. And if you have an organization that you're building, you get to leverage off of your entire team with it.
Yeah, we do have some people that this is pretty much all they do is go from dream trip to dream trip to dream trip to dream trip. That's all they do they just live traveling.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. By the way, what you were just talking about, it's an ecosystem you guys are building, and there is a separate video we're going to do on that. Maybe an overview video that if you haven't watched, make sure to watch it. Just like Apple has their own ecosystem, you guys have your own ecosystem. If you're watching this, and obviously if you're familiar with what we're doing here with the 4%, and we have our own ecosystem, but we have World Ventures ecosystem getting plugged into our ecosystem, and it's just a one big ecosystem that just complements your life.
Which is really good timing because we hadn't had that up until now. Yeah. It took a lot of years. So first it took a lot of money. Then it took a lot of years to hire the right people and then to do the right work and to build it. And so now we're rolling it out. And y'all get to be at the leading edge of it, which is you're showing up at a good time. Right when we have it ready to go, something that is going to go viral.
Yeah.
And so the people that join you and your team right now, they're going to be at the forefront of this, of learning how, we're calling it World Ventures 2.0. And for the people that were in World Ventures 1.0, it was a startup. And we knew coming together, we're going to have to grind this out. And we're going to have a common vision to go build something. And we did. And we succeeded. And we built it in 34, 35 countries around the world. We made millions of dollars together, had a lot of fun. I mean, it's just been absolutely, no exaggeration, the dream life. I mean, better than being a pro athlete, better than being a rock star. I mean, it's just been the dream life. Well, now, we're saying it's World Ventures 2.0 because of all this investment we've made across these years to develop this and now start rolling this out. It's, I don't know. It's just I believe in this. I believe in it that the right people show up at the right time.
Yeah.
This is what's happened in my life. Over and over again, the right people show up at the right time.
Yeah.
And so here it is. We're ready for this. You're showing up. You have these kind of skills. I think it's a good fit.
When I was offered, at one time somebody offered me $3 million sign-up bonus to this other gaming MLM or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to touch it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't resonate with it. After looking at what World Ventures is doing, and now obviously that we're building around it, it's a perfect fit because, you and I were talking off camera, and you said one thing that I remember. You said, everybody, doesn't matter what country they're in, everybody speaks the same language, which is what?
Yeah.
Travel.
Yeah, everybody speaks travel. Everybody wants the same thing. I was saying it doesn't matter if you're from South Dakota, or if you're from South Africa, or if you're from South America. Everybody wants the same thing. They want the best vacation they can get at the lowest price, okay, but with the best experience. Well, that's really what a dream trip is. So what's the difference between a dream trip and a vacation? Ultimately, vacations suck, dream trips rock, but people say, I need a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, your body's telling you something. You need a vacation. You need to get out of South Dakota. You need to get time away from that job, that boss.
That's so true now you said that. Look,
but what you really want that you don't even know yet is a dream trip, but you don't know what a dream trip is until you've been on one.
Right. Which is mind blowing, because like again, countries fight between one another, but people at the end of the day, they just want. Essentially, everybody's the same. You strip down the layers. I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I'm this. I'm that. At the end of the day, people want freedom. People want to have the good life. People want to have experiences and.
Yeah. So I don't know what year it was. I grew up in Fort Worth, and then we rented out the Fort Worth Convention Center, the biggest venue they had in Fort Worth. And I'm doing a speech there, and I brought up all my friends that I'd recruited through the years and people on the team. And here's all these really good people that before I met them had really good jobs, important jobs. And I'm talking doctors, nurses, pilots, flight attendants, construction workers, school teachers, the principal of the school. I mean, all these jobs. And these were good people before they got into World Ventures and before they got into network marketing. And now all of a sudden they get labeled as they're doing one of those. Well, that's sad.
Yeah.
So these are and me in the Marine Corps, I was a really good Marine. I got all meritorious promotions. I joined the Marine Corps for the right reasons, to serve my country and fight for the ideals of America that I believe in. And all of a sudden, just because you get into multi-level marketing or network marketing doesn't make you a bad person. It's just you have different business dynamics. Instead of getting paid by the hour, or instead of getting paid a salary, which is limiting because you're only limited by you, the power of one, your resume or whatever it is, your skill set. But with direct sales, with network, you can leverage yourself. So you have leverage and you have residual. And so people just make that choice. So when I meet these school teachers, it's very rewarding work, or police officers or firemen. It's very rewarding. That's what they wanted to do their whole life. They got the job, but it doesn't pay very well. Teachers don't get paid very well. Policemen don't get paid very well. So then, even though they love what they do, they have a lifetime on living on less and being in debt and on credit cards and all this kind of stuff, and they're stressed out. So even though they get a lot of reward from their job, they're stressed out. So they say, I've done my time. I've done that. Now I want to go do something else. Now I actually want to experience the money side of things. I actually want to, make more money than being a teacher. And we shouldn't make them wrong for that or make them bad for it. So just like if somebody doesn't want to do network marketing, we shouldn't make them wrong for that. God gave them free will. That's their choice. But just like if somebody does want to do it for the benefits of leverage and residual, we shouldn't make them wrong when they decide to make a career change into network marketing. Right. Because it is an honorable profession if you do it right. If you do there's some crooked policemen. That doesn't mean all policemen are bad. It doesn't mean that being a police officer is a bad job. But there's some bad policemen that do it badly. Okay, and there's some bad teachers. I know. I had one bad teacher, that I can think of. Most of my teachers were all very good. Yeah. But same thing with direct sales and network marketing. There's some bad people in the industry that give the industry a bad name and make it look bad. So what we'd rather teach people to do is just go do it right. Tell the truth. It is hard work in the beginning, but it's worth it. And you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to grow, and you're going to sign up some people and they quit. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to sign up somebody else who's just really good. And you got to take the good with the bad. Right. You got to go through the ups and the downs. And we want to just help people, succeed faster. It's like, if you touch a hot stove, and it burns you, you don't like that. You don't want to touch that hot stove again. Well, that's how people are when it comes time to call their friends or call their family. If they get rejected because they don't have much skill, they don't like the way that feels.
Right.
So when they quit and they give up, that doesn't mean that the company's bad, that the product's bad, that the industry's bad. It just means when they went to do the job and they weren't very good at it, they didn't like the experience, and so they don't want to do it again. And when they don't do it again, they fail. But when they fail, they don't say, I failed, I didn't do it right. They say, it failed, it doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as soon as you do that as a person and you start saying it doesn't work, then you give up all your power to actually do something about it and make it work. You see what I mean?
Right.
So after 12 years, we've proven that we work.
You guys are not on trial anymore.
Exactly. At a certain point, we're not the ones under the microscope, under the scrutiny. At what point do we get to say, hey, we're going on 3 billion in sales. Hey, we're in 35 countries. Hey, we can prove that we've created, lots of millionaires if people wanted that, right? There's some people that just want to make some extra money. There's some people that don't want to make any money. They just want to go on the trips.
Right.
So
you don't have to be a customer to be a rep. You don't have to be a rep to be a customer.
Right.
Right. Which is very clear. We want to make the distinction. And what really, what I love about your model here, you guys, is that our model now, right? We're part of it now. Is the fact that unlike with most of the companies out there, you have to sell a product and you have to really try to sell a product. How difficult is it to sell?
Yeah. So it's the same Hawaii, right? We just have it for less money and a better experience. It's the same cruise ship. We just have it at the lower price, better experience.
And so this is the kind of product, not to interrupt, but this is the kind of product that if you're watching this right now, right? If you're watching from a perspective of a representative, right, of a builder like myself, and when I'm looking at this, I don't have to lead with like income claims. I don't have to, in order for me to convince somebody to join an opportunity, I don't have to, say, hey, I'm making $2 billion every 2 seconds or something like that for somebody to get attention. That stuff is secondary. It's like a cherry on top.
Yeah, this is quality of life.
This is the quality stuff. That what we represent is greatness, man. It's like everybody's dream is our product.
We want it to be if somebody joins us, and they never make a dime,
right,
that they love this company.
Right, and that's the pattern.
They love the product. They love the environment. Yes.
Right.
And there's some people There's some people that I've met that went 3 years without recruiting somebody. Went 3 years without making money, but they loved it. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, they take off. And I've worked with a few people like that. There's other ones that succeed right out of the gates.
Love it. Wayne, thank you so much. I don't want to take too much. I know, being a company owner, you don't. It's not like you having, nothing to do here. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Hopefully this was helpful. It's a kind of a good mix between me and my background and experience as a rep.
Yeah.
Me as a owner and chief visionary of the company. Me as somebody in a way who's your upline that wants to help and help your team. So no, I hope to have helped.
Right, awesome. So from, if you're watching this, right, I'll just say this in the closing. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, as long as, you can speak English, and as long as Oral Ventures is in your country, which you can check out later, I'll tell you what to do there a little bit later on in a different segment. You can benefit from a product, right, as a customer. Tremendous value. As a matter of fact, we'll have another video. Tonight we're going to go to eat to the restaurant, and we're going to use one of them fly cards, and so we're going to capture a video on that one. Make sure you watch that. You'll see how that works. Phenomenal stuff. If you are somebody who's a builder, right? If you want to build a business, I want to talk to you for a sec, right? So what Wayne talked about, the company vision, the ecosystem, the family, friendly atmosphere, and that kind of stuff. Their events, you guys' events are phenomenal. I have not been to an event that's as electrifying as yours that I've experienced. This is, crazy. If you ever have a chance to, get to the World Ventures event, definitely experience it, because it's unlike anything else you have ever seen. I'm going to talk to you as a builder, right? So if you want to build, okay, so what's going on is you guys have built $1 billion company being offline 100%.
Yes.
Right now we're bringing online presence, right? And we're going to be that engine that's going to power this giant machine, this vehicle online. Okay, what's the opportunity? Unlimited, right? I'm not going to promise you're going to make any money here because I don't know you, but here's what I can promise you. There'll be some people that will make more money than they can even dream about, right? It's going to take hard work. It's going to take smart thinking, and you got to do certain things in a certain way to, for it to be effective and working. But what we're doing here, right? I'll talk to you, a little bit about the marketing system that we are attaching to this vehicle here in a separate video. But essentially what we're doing is we're trying to make it so that I have this saying, Wayne, I say, you know what, people can fail, but systems don't, right? That's why McDonald's works and can be run by teenagers. We're building a systematic way for us to be able to take this idea and expand it globally, right? In a way that, it's systematic, in a way that you can do it as long as you buy into the vision and, you're part of the team. We'll cover that in the second video. Keep on watching. Wayne, any closing comments you have for anybody that might be watching this video and maybe like, I don't know, I'm on a borderline here. Should I do it? Should I?
You're hearing about the right company at the right time. We've got the right product, the right systems, the right services in place, and now this kind of team dynamic here. We've had tremendous success in the last 12 years in the 35 countries that we're in. And run up to, like I said, $3 billion in sales. But we are not in 6 of the top 10 direct sales industry markets yet, but I'm working on those. So you're joining at a time where we have plenty of business for you to run at, especially with your skill set through the internet. But as we open up these other countries, even more. And so there's so much growth in front of us. So even though we were already the #1 fastest growing company in the entire industry, it's not open for debate. This is according to the industry publication, Direct Selling News. Okay, they do the Global 100. Of all the Global 100, we were the #1 fastest growing by a long shot, almost 1,000% growth. And the #2 was like 233% growth or something. So we were the fastest growing. And so we've had to pull back some. I had to staff up and hire up to make another run around the world and build at now enterprise level systems, because we're knocking on the door of becoming one of these legacy companies. That's how big we've gotten. And then all these other products. So you're coming on at a right time when I'm opening up more countries. I have more product, which means more revenue. So the team that you do build, there's going to be more things for them to buy and sell that they earn commissions on. So no, you're hearing about World Ventures. Even though we're 12 years old, we're like a 12-year-old billion-dollar-a-year startup company. And I think we're like the best kept secret out there. Maybe because we haven't been so good at, being on the internet, because we have been kind of behind the scenes, just doing it the old fashioned way. But I would encourage your folks to join us right now as we're doing this, but then also get to one of our events. You really want to be able to experience both. Like you have, where you know how to communicate with your people, through the internet. But when your people come to one of the events, so it's easy for you to get in World Ventures. But what you really, really want is World Ventures to get into you. Yeah. And you're going to have to touch it. Nothing can replace, a good handshake like that. Yeah. You got to be in person. A hug, man, a high five. Yep. The stories in between, eating together. Man, here, taste this.
And you guys really seriously, without exaggeration, do have like the best community I've ever seen.
Yep.
And I've been online for 14 years.
So there's 3 things that we see where people get in and succeed the most because they stick around the most. What makes people get in and stick is 3 things. Number 1, they go on a dream trip. When the people that have been on a dream trip, we've had as high as 89% retention rate, just because they finally go on a dream trip and they experience it and they're like, wow, that was the best vacation I've ever had in my life. That was the most bang for the buck. All right, number 2, they go to one of our events and they realize, wow, this is way bigger than me or my brother or my family member. This is like, wow, this actually really is a big business. This is a big company, right? And the number 3 thing, which is really cool, that's starting right now, is what we're going to do tonight, where we go to this restaurant. And this is like one of the top-rated Greek restaurants here in town. And I'm going to have the ahi tuna. We're going to have a bottle of wine. And you get half, 50% of what we spend back in travel to apply towards dream trips.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable. And so anybody that goes and does that, eats at one of our restaurants and gets the points, we have the same level of retention, like 89, 90% retention rate. And so you're at the forefront of that. Like, I want to be, like, I do. I want to be respectful. I want to be fair. But the honest to God truth is there, like, is not a reason not to do this, because you're going to travel anyway. It's just you're going to pay retail. And so that means you're going to pay more. And when you get there, you're not going to be treated special. With us, you pay wholesale. And you get there and you get treated special. We have our own person there to meet you and greet you. We got our own separate check-in. We do our own private parties and excursions and everything. So even though you paid less, you're getting treated better. So yes, from that standpoint, no reason not to do it. But then as a rep, that's as a customer and a member. But as a rep, whatever you do spend on travel, even though it's wholesale, it can be a tax write-off. You need to go talk to your CPA, your accountant about that. But once you become a rep in this, you're like putting yourself in the travel business. You're like putting yourself in the travel industry. And so now all of a sudden, when you go on one of our dream trips, you're going to experience the product. And when you go check out this resort or this cruise ship or whatever it is, you're actually going and experiencing the product. And so you're legitimately in the travel business. So there's lots of things you could do to make money. And whatever you do to make money, if you're a doctor, you're talking about sick people a lot. You're around sick people a lot. If you're a lawyer, you're talking about suing people a lot. If you're a police officer, you're around crime and criminals a lot. So whatever you do for a living, you're talking about it a lot, you're doing it a lot. As soon as you decide to position yourself in the travel business, number one, it's the biggest, fastest growing industry in the world because of all the baby boomers around the world retiring. They got the time freedom to travel. They got the money freedom to travel. There's one retiring every 8 seconds for the next 20 years. So it's a big growth thing. The two big things are healthcare and travel, because healthcare is what they need because they're getting old. Yeah. Travel is what they want. People would rather buy what they want than what they need. I'd rather sell what they want than what they need. So you as a networker, you as a rep, you're going to wind up talking about your product a lot. And so now you're going to be talking about, Hawaii a lot and cruise ships a lot. But you're going to ask people, if you go anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? And who would you want to go with? And they're going to tell you and say, okay, good, man. Good. Awesome. Let's get you there. And I want to go with you. And let's go talk to your best friend and your best family members and invite them to go too. And invite them to go at wholesale, not retail.
Right.
You see? So it's a very natural thing. And, it's very high touch, very relational that way. But I think it's sexy on the internet. I think
it's gonna go crazy.
I think y'all are gonna do really, really well.
Yeah.
And so I know that y'all could have chosen a lot of companies to join. I appreciate you choosing World Ventures, and I look forward to helping any way I can.
Wayne, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Looking forward to do some big things together. All right, everybody. See you.